Thirdly, I would like to talk about, which is, again, very important thing, challenging assumptions. And I've brought up this point like a few times before in my presentations, and I would urge everybody, and also the professors of New York, if you would, to use these terminology as much as possible, because these are new terminologies that they're being used more nowadays. But I read about, let's say, design thinking, which is a core part of challenging assumptions, in a 1969 article from Harvard Business School. And design thinking basically is when you welcome all type of thoughts. There are no wrong thoughts. You welcome all type of procedures, all type of thinking processes. Everything is welcome, and you contemplate. It is sort of a yin-yang with critical thinking, because critical thinking is when you dissect the thinking process. Design thinking is something that we all must practice and challenge assumptions, which can happen via design thinking. So very, very fundamental part of design management itself. Going to my fourth and the final point is local creative resources and mechanism for innovation. Now, design management is such an interesting and undefeatable toolbox, if you would, that it can grow like a seed. And when we look at that, how can we develop? And we're looking at Africa, right? We notice Addis Ababa University in Ethiopia, and I spoke about the education institutions before that are playing a very important role in Africa. The university actually hooked up with the University of Illinois Chicago, UIC, which hooked up with the Council of International Programs, who hooked up with the local NGOs, and then the Masters in Social Work was born in Ethiopia for the first time. And this mechanism, when the government saw this, when the government looked at this, they jumped in. The government says this is very interesting. And when the government helped out, SWEEP was born. What is SWEEP? It's Social Work, Education, and Ethiopia Partnership. And this boosted up the entire capacity of the entire nation to welcome changes. And social work is, as we know, is a very, very important part in Africa, directly linked with the NGOs. And my point here today is that if that can happen with UIC and Addis Ababa, why can't this happen with Pratt Institute? Why can't this happen with NYU? Yes, it can, because as I mentioned before about design thinking, challenging assumptions. Yes, it can happen. And we can create a design management program and in Africa, and that can work, definitely. So you see how interesting the design management toolbox is and how things can come together and function and solve problems. I would like to just conclude, actually, that things can change in Africa. There's no single solution to this problem, but there's long-term solutions that we can put in place and bring the change by linking strategic resources together. There is also, you have to physically go there, ethnographic research has to take place. You have to experience what these people experience. You have to live in the culture and subcultures and find out, learn the language, see what the problems are going through. And lastly, the most important thing I must mention that this is, ladies and gentlemen, a time-sensitive issue. We're talking about, as we mentioned, UN Millennium Goals. This 2015 is our deadline for all developing nations and developed nations to help out. So we are here in 2007 today. This is a perfect opportunity for the prospective researchers to take it forward from here and keep that timeline in mind and understand design management further in the detail. I would like to thank you very much for your time today.